And a very pleasant good day to you all around the world. And I really mean all around God's planet. It's a good day to be alive. Above ground and certainly not beneath. Strange things are yet going on in the land of the living, however. We're in a season, one that has been seen coming before the foundation of the world. It's called election time. But in the midst of this election time, strange things are happening. And you know what is going on is that some people are trying to offset the will of God. A dangerous thing, please hear me. A dangerous position to be in when you're in God's way of progress. And the scripture says that God heard his people's cry, and he delivered them out of all their troubles. Now, we're going to be talking about that. And what we really want to do is to be very candid, honest, and open to truth, if you will. And I have some very distinguished guests all in the place today, and you will be seeing and hearing them. On the stage now, to my far right, is Juanita Bratcher, editor and publisher of Copyline News Magazine. If you want the best in truth, go to Copyline News Magazine. And to her left is Chinta Strasberg, former political reporter for the Chicago Defender newspaper. Dr. Margaret Burroughs called her affectionately Miss Defender. She's all over the place giving truths to anyone that will dare to listen. To her left is Maureen Mo Forte, commonly known as In the Know with Mo. She is the guiding force behind the Chicago chapter of the National Action Network. And she is also the chairman of the Probation Challenge Board of Directors. Ladies, I selected that you be here because of your history in standing up and being forerunners for truth. What in the world is going on with the lies that they say are lies? And let me clarify now. I am not a politician, never wanted to be, but I believe there's a God, and I am a man of God. But I want you to tell me, what is all this mess that's going on now where people are coming out of the woodwork with blatant lies? I want to start with Ms. Bratcher, please.
Well, you know, I have written many articles about all of these things that are going on. I started back when the campaign first started. And there are, I don't want to say blatantly lies, they are, but I would like to say mistruth, especially with the Romney campaign. You know, we had just yesterday, there was an ad out where the Romney campaign was saying that these jobs were leaving Chrysler, going to China. And it went so far that the president of Chrysler said that it wasn't true.
He did.
But yet and still, the ad is still running.
Still running.
And they even resorted to running a radio ad talking about the same thing. You know, and I think that's for people who are misinformed and they feel that they can get it over, but those people who know better, well, it doesn't go anywhere. But Romney is a person that changes what he feels about things from day to day. And if you know, we have Hurricane Sandy in different places, and he had said once that he would get rid of FEMA. You know, if elected. Yesterday it was a different story. Romney will not be getting rid of FEMA. You know, and I have basically what he said. He was asked by John King of CNN whether that would include FEMA. He said, "We cannot afford to do those things without jeopardizing the future for our kids. It is simply immoral, in my view, for us to continue to wrap up larger and larger debts and pass them on to our kids." Now they say a week before Election Day, in the wake of this massive disaster, he's changed his mind. His team is saying he would not get rid of FEMA. You know, and in Ryan's budget, his running mate, they're going to cut 43% from FEMA. You know,
It's
but yet it's
devastating.
still that was the budget before this disaster happened. It's still there. The budget is still there. But now they're saying that he will not cut.
Well, you know, it's like the scripture comes to mind and it says, we are tossed to and fro by what? Every wind of doctrine. When are we going to cease just hearing today one thing and turning the page and seeing tomorrow something different? Don't we have the audacity to think for ourselves? What do you think, Ms. Straussberg?
Let me just add something before Chinta goes.
Sure.
He said that he was going to get rid of Planned Parenthood. He has reversed that. He said he was going to get rid of Roe versus Wade. He has reversed that. So you don't know what
You don't know what
Romney
he
is
is.
going to do because it's confusing. He tell you one day he's going to do one thing, and the next day he changes it.
Would that be
It's
the
like
same
he goes
position as
where
president?
The wind blows.
Would, yes,
Yeah.
it is. Every wind of doctrine.
Yeah.
Would it be the same way if he were president of these not so United States? One day,
Of course.
a decision to do this, and another day, another decision?
I don't think so. I think he's doing this just to get elected. He's trying
Yeah.
to cut into President Obama's base and confuse them enough, create voter apathy. So his base, the president's base, will stay at home. What angers me even more than Willard Mitt Romney, that's his name, is the fact that we have a group of black preachers who are telling their parishioners not to vote, to go fishing,
Yes.
because of the president's position on gay marriage. And I think that's horrible. You ask what was this all about? It's all about racism. It's about the color
It is.
of his skin.
It
The man
is.
is 51 years old. He is a former senator. He's born of an African father, a white mother. They got a problem with that. They don't know how to figure out this new breed of a black man. And I predict he is going to win on November 6th.
You believe that he will?
I will.
No, Obama. She means
Obama.
Obama
Oh,
is
okay,
going
let's
to
clear
win.
that.
And I
All right.
predict the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maureen, what are you saying?
Well, I am a politician. I'm a doubly elected official in the village where I reside, and I have to piggyback on both the young ladies here. Race is an issue. We are living in a time now where I am in my 60s, and I am now being called a mulatto. And where did this term come from? So, with me representing a civil rights organization, I've been confronted on the radio that Reverend Sharpton likes the president because he's half white. And Reverend Sharpton likes people of mixed races. Look at your president of your chapter of Chicago. The bottom line, the Constitution says 1 drop of black blood, and here I am. Okay, and when we can get over the Willie Lynch syndrome of racism and sexism, we'll be better off. But this race here, and I am so glad that Shinta mentioned his name, Willard. As soon as I heard Willard, it reminded me of a rat. Because a rat is dirty and nasty, and Republican Party stands for the R. When you're driving, R means reverse. You're going backwards. So the Democratic Party is the D, which means drive, moving forward. We're in a time of trying to exclude our positive voters. We, as a chapter of National Action Network, registered 3,000, estimated 3,000 new voters ages 18 to 29.
Yes.
So we had to fight that exclusion with inclusion. And this is what a lot of this campaigning and debating is not doing. It's trying to keep everyone out. Even here in Illinois, our ex-offenders can vote.
That's interesting that you would say that, because we need to emphasize the fact that they can.
Yes.
Because there is a underlying thing going on out here. And you know, in our community, we have a tendency to believe the negative before we believe the positive.
Exactly.
Some of the ex-offenders are believing they cannot go to the polls.
Exactly. And the ex-offenders here in Illinois, even if they have been convicted but have served their time,
Yes.
they are eligible to vote here in the state of Illinois. So we have registered a whole lot of homeless people, a whole lot of ex-offenders who have served their time. Once you are discharged from the correctional center, you are free to register to vote, and we need those voters.
But also, when they're in Cook County Jail and have not been convicted, they can also vote.
Exactly,
Mayor Harold
exactly.
Washington used to
That's
go to
right.
the jails and register those people and then follow up to see if they voted.
Exactly. And Reverend Jackson, every year during Christmas,
Right.
will go down to the Cook County Jail during Christmas and register the young men and women who are waiting to be heard, because they too are still eligible to register and vote until they are convicted.
But who in Chicago is leading that campaign? I don't know of anyone.
Well, National Action Network, this is our first year doing it, and we're combining some resources with Minister Farrakhan with their prison ministry. And Reverend Jackson, the bottom line is all these organizations need to unify and come together under one umbrella.
That's
because
true.
we're all fighting for the same cause. So once we come together collectively, then our whole society will be better.
Well, no, I like to commend Reverend Al Sharpton. He is doing an excellent job on the radio and television.
Yes.
He's like becoming the PR arm of the president.
Well, you know, I from what I've seen, because I have gone to the polls 4 times to vote. On my 4th time, I finally got a chance to vote.
My third.
The lines are long.
Yes.
And that means that people are interested because this is a very serious election. Now, if Romney would get to be the president, he would more than likely appoint about 3 people to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yes.
Right.
And so we can see what will happen down the road, because if he does, then he'll have a chance to wipe out Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
He'll have a chance to get rid of Planned Parenthood.
Affirmative action.
Yeah, that too.
That's interesting.
And
Interesting.
so it's very important
Yes.
that we go out. But it seems like from some of the polls that I've seen, it's a very tight race. And I believe it's going to be one. But in the end, I believe Obama will win, because right now, all of the statistics on the Electoral College, you know, he seems to be ahead of Romney.
He's predicated on winning Ohio. He's got to win Ohio.
Yeah, and if you recall, some time ago, they wanted to say that, another falsehood, that Obama was trying to stop the military from voting. And he said, Obama, he wasn't trying to stop that. He wanted everybody to be able to vote on the same status that the military. You know, that people should be able to vote as long as the military vote. As a matter of fact, I have it. It says, the Obama campaign, they said the Obama campaign is trying to restrict military voting in Ohio. And as we know, they said no Republican president has won the White House without the Ohio vote.
Right.
And right now, Obama is leading by a very small margin, but yet and still he's leading.
Now, what
And-
about that? A small margin as far as we are concerned, who would be the consumer, who would be the viewer of these polls. But I have a big question here. I'd like to know, when was the last time any of us were polled?
I don't believe in polls, and
I
I
don't
told
believe in
people
polls
that.
either.
Of
Yeah.
course, I'm happy when the person that I want to win is
Yes.
ahead in the polls,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
you know the demographics and where they take these things. As a matter of fact, for the first time I heard this year, they told how many Republicans were in the poll and how many Democrats, and that can make a big difference too. Who you are polling.
That's correct.
So I don't really believe in polls. I don't believe that endorsements mean that much. You know, if you can think for yourself, you don't need anybody to tell you who you should go to polls and vote for. I
The
don't
only-
need that. I know who I want to.
And
I
that-
keep up with it.
And that's going back to, Shinta had mentioned all these black pastors who are asking their parishioners not to vote because the president made his own. It's not a law. It's just his opinion on civil marriages. And so my thinking is maybe those churches need to be boycotted. I recall when Dr. King came to Chicago. One of the pastors here in Chicago changed his address.
Reverend Jackson.
Tell it, you know, because the bottom line is we're fighting for truth.
Joseph Jackson.
Joseph Jackson. You know, so here we have pastors saying, well, I don't believe in same-sex marriage. Well, let's do this here. Why don't we take and clear out the choir stand of all of these churches? Let's sit down the choir director. Let's move away all the same-sex couples and the gay and lesbian LBGT in the church.
Including the preachers.
Including the preachers.
Then who's left?
Then who's left? Where are your tithes and offers coming from?
And what is that saying? He who
Is without sin,
That's
let him
right.
cast
That's
the first
right.
stone.
Many of those preachers, I'm telling you, they're not
Well,
angels.
we're getting hot up in here.
Oh, well, we can go all the way back to Eddie Long.
Oh,
Tell
please.
the truth. Tell the truth.
Lord.
Let's consider taking a break. Breathe. It's going to get even better than better. We have these reporters who they didn't play with their research. They have investigated the investigators, and they're going to bring you the truth. But we have an audience full of people who are second to none. If you stay with us, I promise you will enjoy this special. We'll be right back.